10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician Chris Aceto on this December 18th, 2017 afternoon. And Chris, Christmas is coming up soon, and this week is Baby Week. That means that
I know
Amanda's giving
22nd. I heard 22nd.
That's a due date.
22nd, 23rd.
Yeah, that's a due date. We're going in on Wednesday after work, or maybe after she's finished working. I still probably have a little bit left, but we're going to go in around 2:00, and I think they're going to. I guess that what they do is they stick their finger into the birth canal there to feel the baby, and they can actually, what they do is they strip the membranes in there, the mucous membranes, and when they do that, supposedly that usually initiates the beginning of labor, so they can kind of stimulate labor, and usually within 24 hours you give birth after that. Not always, but it's possible. So because we'd like her to give birth on Thursday, to be honest with you. That's the planned date we got. I like 12/21 as a birthday. I can remember it. I gotta, everything in my life has to be convenient. Like, we got married on December 1st because if we get married on November 27th, I'll never remember.
You'll never remember the anniversary.
No, and thank God Logan was born on January 10th, which is kind of like an even number too. It's pretty easy to remember. And so we're going for the 22nd of December is kind of harder, even though it's 2/2. But I figured that 12/21 I can remember, so it's just inverting the numbers. So that's the plan.
You could hope for Christmas and then never forget it.
Yeah, but she's my.
You still may forget 12/21.
I might. You're right, but the kids. You never forget your kid's birthday because they remind you. You can forget like anniversaries.
Well, you do at the beginning. I wouldn't. I would forget the dates of the birth, the years.
The years, yeah. You know what? The year you can definitely let go. But I'll tell you one thing. My dad remembers my birthday. I mean, he doesn't remember much of anything else, but he remembers my birthday. He remembers. I think he remembers my sister's birthday too, to be honest with you. Which is pretty amazing. So I guess as a parent, eventually, maybe the first couple of years, they're only 2 years old. But once they're like 10, 11, 12, then it kind of gets cemented into your brain, I guess. So.
I can't wait till you go, like in 2 years with your two little kids at the grocery store, and someone says to you, "Oh, what a nice grandfather."
That's why I told him I'm going to keep dyeing my hair. I'm not.
John Stamos, I think his wife just gave birth.
I know, and he's 53, so he's
54.
50 years? Yeah, but you know what? If he looks like he's like 40. I mean, he looks like he's like 35. I wish I had his head of hair, man. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's God bless that guy with good looks.
Trump has a 10-year-old.
I'm telling you, God bless that guy with good looks. I mean, some people just have it. That guy's. Like you say, Ronnie Coleman's got the greatest genetics of all time in bodybuilding. John Stamos is one of these guys that just. God's like, we're gonna just make this guy good looking, and we're not even gonna take his looks away as he gets older. We're gonna keep him.
Yeah.
That's a blessed guy in the looks department, and he's very talented. He's a great musician. He's a good actor.
Plus, he hasn't grabbed any female actresses lately.
No, he doesn't have to because they're grabbing him.
I know, but that's all that's in the news lately, dude. It's just
I'm sick of it, to be honest with you. I'm sick of it. You know what the problem is? Gene Simmons from Kiss just got accused of recently. A woman was interviewing him, and she said he groped her, and then she pushed him away, and he grabbed her when they were taking a picture. He grabbed her ass, and you know what the problem is? It's like what Trump said. These stars are so used to these women throwing themselves at them that they think, well, you know what? The ones that don't throw themselves, I'll just grab them because they probably want me anyway. And they've always gotten away with it. So
you just got to have some Tic Tacs around just in case, as Trump said.
No, but my point is that they think it's okay, and it's so ingrained in them that they don't even know they're doing anything wrong. Now, Harvey Weinstein was a predator, so I'm not excusing him, but a lot of these guys just think, and I'm sure so many women throw themselves at these guys that they're like, it is what it is. So now they're like getting now they're being, these women are coming forth and realizing that they were being, harassed in a way and cajoled and manipulated, and now they're pissed off, and everyone's joining on the bandwagon. And now these guys are like, but I did it for years, Now, once again, I'm not condoning it. The problem was it was reinforced terrible behavior that was that they were allowed to get away with for so long. You'll never change them now. You're not changing the spots on a leopard at this point in time.
You mean you're not changing men, or you're not changing the people who've been doing it?
The guys have been doing it. Because not all men do it. You and I don't do it. I don't grope women. You know, that's just not my shtick. I don't know.
Someone may take away your radio show. That may be the doomsday to Dave Palumbo. Some girl may come out and say, you know, in the third grade, because they go back 40 years.
Yeah. Oh, they do.
Right. 40 years. So you'd be 10. Dave Palumbo groped me on the playground in,
you're right.
East Syosset, New York.
Right, you're right. You know what the funny thing is about me? My ego is so fragile that, like, if I was ever my fear of rejection from women is so great that, like, I would never even risk it. Like, because if they, God forbid, they rejected me, like most guys,
slap you in the
I don't
face
give a fuck.
say,
I'll just if I grope 10 women, maybe I'll get 2. For me, I'm thinking that's 8 rejections. I can't handle that. My ego would self-destruct, so I couldn't do anything. I probably have lost more like dates with girls that I actually wanted to be with because I was too afraid to ask them out. I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite of the gropers. You know, I've lost out on missed opportunities because I wasn't aggressive enough.
So you should have been groping it.
No. I don't. You know, my dad taught me one thing, and never put your hands on a woman ever, whether it be, you know, physically, you know, to, like, you know, to punish them in a way or to disrespect them in any way. And that's one thing I'll say he taught me.
Good advice.
It's good advice. Now my dad is in the assisted living, and he's making lewd comments to all the women in there because he thinks they all want him. Because he completely has no filter now, because he's like, he can't remember anything. So all his rules and etiquette that he established over all these years, they're completely out the window.
Yeah.
How ironic is that? You know?
Yeah.
I said, well, at least you taught me well.
Yeah, you're safe.
Yeah.
He's not. He's not at 90. You're safe at 50.
But you know, at 90, you can get away with anything because people know you're out of your fucking mind, so no one takes you seriously. So he's lucky in that respect. So let him have it. He's having a good time. So I heard you told me, and I don't know if this is true or not, is the Rock wants to run for president now? He decided not to cover the Olympia this year, as he promised the year before that, and now he's going to run for president. Maybe that's why he didn't endorse cover the Olympia.
Yeah, well, I hear, you know, I saw him on Ellen.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know if it was I think it was fairly recent. She asked him.
Right.
And he had a very firm and very legitimate, I'm really thinking about it.
Really?
So he'd have to, you know, I guess he would be running, right, as a Democrat, because he's not running for the Republican ticket, because that would be Trump.
Well, assuming that Trump, you know,
Trump or Putin.
Impeached. Yeah. Assuming he doesn't get impeached.
So, or, you know, Mark Cuban, on the other hand.
Oh, he's also wants to run?
Yeah, he wants to run as a Democrat. Or maybe he's talking about, I think he's talking about him and Bloomberg running together.
Really? Well, that would be the 2 billionaires together, right?
Yeah.
Well, I figured if Trump did it, then why can't we?
Yeah. Well, that's what people do. They say he did it. You know, so-and-so did it, made it look easy.
Trump did everything counterintuitive to what you should have done. Like, if there's like a rule book, like, all right, Donald, these are the top 10 things we want you to do, and the top 10 things we don't want you to do. He just switched the list. He's like, you know what? Nothing ever works conventionally. I'll just you know, throw it out there as a joke and do whatever I want, and it worked. You know.
Remember when he did sit-down interview with someone and they were complaining? Maybe it was like Diane Sawyer, that he wasn't presidential. And he said, I could be the most presidential person you ever seen in your life.
He just proved that you don't have to be presidential to be a president.
Yeah, well, and then he said, but why be presidential when I'm in first place?
That's true. He figures, yeah, you know what? I already won, so what do I have to adhere to their rules for now? I won on my own terms. I won saying all the wrong things, and so why should I start saying the right things now, or what they think is the right things? You know, I don't know. It's a crazy times now. People don't know who to vote for. You know what? I blame the social media. Trump never would have won before social media was present, because no one would even know what he was about. You know, it's like people like, you know, like are cool.
No,
like,
listen.
You got these channels. Look, I interviewed LuiMarco this past weekend. All right, and you know what? I've been critical of him in the past, and it was real more of a goof. It wasn't really. I wasn't seriously like I didn't even know the guy, you know. But I was like making it seem like here's a guy who no one knew. He never competed in a bodybuilding show. You know, he was sitting in his house and doing videos, and people were subscribing and using him, saying he's the most knowledgeable guy in bodybuilding. and I thought it was hysterically funny. But the truth of the matter is that in this day and age of social media, you could become a star and not have any credentials whatsoever. And you know what? When I interviewed him, he came on the show this past week. If you guys haven't seen the interview, it's up. You know, I treated him like a real person of respect, because he has almost 500,000 subscribers, and so people do listen to him. And there's guys like Bader Badai using him, you know, for his news agency, and they're flying him over to Kuwait. So he is someone. He has made himself. He worked his way up from nothing to something that to a person who's being listened to. So you could never, in the history of the world, you could never do that before, you know, social media came about. LuiMarco never would have been a name in bodybuilding. You think Steve Bleckman would have put him, you know, in the magazine, or Flex magazine would have made him a writer? No, they would have said, who the hell is this guy? You know, so it's a different day and age. So Trump
Steve
won.
Put him on the cover.
I'll put you in. Now he will. Louis, I always believed in you. I got news for you. LuiMarco would be a way better fucking option than Christian Dukey. That's for sure. So, you know, but the point I was making is that Trump only succeeded at becoming president because of the social media age, where he can tweet and say, you know what, this is fucked up. I'm sick of these idiots. You know, and people are like, yeah. You know, and you can get that. You can touch the common man. You know, the guy who sits back and drinks a beer and says, fucking Trump, he should be president.
Well, it doesn't hurt that he had a TV show for 12 years.
Yeah, also right. Also, he was in a celebrity in that sense. But I'm just saying, you could. I guarantee you, in the future, we will see presidents of this country. I know it sounds ludicrous.
We already have one. What are you talking about?
No, that are just social, just on the internet.
Oh, okay.
They're social media guys.
I heard Kim Kardashian may run for something.
I wouldn't. You don't think Kim Kardashian would get votes? She absolutely would.
Get tons of votes.
She'd get a lot more votes than probably some of the existing politicians out there. So anyone could, you know, run for president. I guarantee if Arnold was born in this country, he'd be president. He'd be president. But that, you know, he's still of the Ronald Reagan genre, I call it. You know, he was in the acting, and he was a bodybuilder, a tough guy. You know, people love that. I'm surprised Clint Eastwood never became president, to be honest with you. He would have been a great president, I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, make my day. I mean, who else do you want, you know, in the White House, you know, when the shit goes down in the Middle East? You know, you want the guy who's going to pull out the gun, the 44 caliber.
She's going down in Korea, not in the Middle East.
Yeah, well, whatever. You know what I'm saying. But
yeah,
I think that you're going to see politicians who are going to be guys that are not the guys that you usually see. They're going to be coming out of the woodwork. You know, the guys that are just going to start their own YouTube channels and start giving their opinions on things. People are going to be like, fuck, that guy makes sense. Unfortunately, the scary part of that is you can wind up with another Hitler like that, you know, because a lot of people are radical online, and, you know, you get enough, you know, people following you. If times are not that good out there, you get some cuckoo birds. Speaking of times not being so good, I see that Bitcoin has been blowing up, huh?
Yeah, since we recommended it on RxMuscle Radio. You know, when we talked about it on RxMuscle Radio, Happy Muscle Radio, it was $2,000. Right. It's
$2,000 for what?
Per coin. It's 19 grand as of tonight. So you would have had 9 times that. $2,000 would have been 18 grand.
Wow.
Had you?
How much did you make? You sold yours, right?
10 grand.
You made 10 grand. What'd you do for money?
I'm going to Florida twice.
Okay, that's good. That was for some free trips you got out of it.
Yeah, but you know what? You know when you sell something like that, you follow it for life.
Yeah.
In other words, people. I don't actually, but people do. I mean, I do. I know it's 19,000 tonight, but
do you think it's going to go up, or you think it's going down?
I think it's going to go up a little bit higher and then come way down.
So you think we should buy like for a month or two and then sell?
No.
Okay.
It's like the
bubble's going to burst. The bubble's going to burst.
Well, it reminds me of 1999 stocks, and it reminds me of 2005 condo flipping. In other words, everybody, when everyone starts talking about it, the herds, that's when, it comes down.
Yeah. I heard LuiMarco may run for president. I just got word. Just got a text message from Aaron Singerman.
Really?
Yeah. I'll vote for him.
He'll have to have like little updates on a daily basis.
He said that
Dave, I can't do his voice. Can you do?
I gotta practice because I do like a once in a while.
Bubble. Everybody's got the bubble
guts. He gave us the whole story about the William Bonac thing, and he said he didn't badmouth Bonac. He didn't badmouth Bonac. Bonac blew everything out of proportion.
Well,
I told him, look, you're gonna say things about people, and they're not gonna like it sometimes, and that's all there is to it. And they're entitled to their opinion, and you're entitled to your opinion as a social media guy. I do support him in the sense that he's a pain in the ass sometimes. I mean, I know with the bubble gut bullshit, but you know what? He's entitled to his opinion. He can give any. You don't have to watch his channel if you don't want. And you know what? If you don't like what he says, too bad. That's the bottom line. I mean, people are entitled to their opinions. He doesn't do it. He can do it in a little bit of a sarcastic way, but he doesn't do it in an aggressive way. He does it in a very opinionated way, and sometimes it annoys people. But the bottom line is he's giving his opinion. He's not judging shows. So
it's funny. Listen, it's funny that the guy can't get a cover of MD, considering that he's in a monumental battle with Phil Heath, and a monumental, argument with William Bonac, top 3 in the Olympia, top two guys out of the top 3 in the Olympia. Speak with him on a regular basis and end up hating him.
Well, you know what? Because these guys think that they're going to win him over, but you know what? You can't. I don't care if you're 7-time Mr. Olympia, Phil Heath. You can't schmooze a reporter over it. If Phil and I talked every single day, and I didn't think Phil looked good on stage, I'd say it. I didn't say Phil looked good at the Olympia, and I thought he deserved to win because I wanted him to be my friend. I said it because I really believed it. And I know you did too. And if we thought he looked like shit, the
back way. Listen, that's why I do it this way, Dave. I say this. I don't think people get my humor, or maybe I'm not funny at all. I say, Phil Heath is an idiot. What place you have in the Olympia? Oh, first. In other words, there's I can make the separation between an opinion of a person, and I'm exaggerating, and have an honest opinion of the person's physique.
Louis thought that his gut warranted him not winning the Olympia, and you and I thought it didn't. And you and I disagreed.
The problem with
people would say, "Well, Dave's had a gut. That's why." No, it's not why. I didn't think it detracted from his physique.
The problem with his assessment is I sat in row 5. Listen, I sound like these people online. You have to be there. I sat there and watched the show, and at no time during prejudging would his quote gut become an issue in any way, shape, or form. When you're doing this,
in any of the mandatory poses, right?
When you have either in the quarter turns, when you have a camera that goes like this, takes 3,000 frames a second,
right?
You're going to get pictures where people look like retards in the face.
Yeah.
You're going to get pictures where people's stomachs are hanging out, and people say, "Well, I didn't see so and so's stomach hanging out." Well, you know what? It wasn't an issue in prejudging, and it wasn't an issue in the night show.
Right.
If it was, I would leverage it and make it an excuse, and say it was hanging out, and that's why he should not have won. But it wasn't an issue.
Yeah. All right, I got to go. My wife's having a baby. Just kidding. False alarm. I'm just testing you to see if you'd stay calm and cool. All right, there was there's an email going around, okay, with a drug cycle on it. They're calling it the Chad Nichols death cycle. Supposedly the cycle that Chad gives out to the top guys that supposedly Dallas McCarver was on. First of all, I want to just state right for the record, and I did a rant on this. I don't think that I don't believe Chad would ever tell anyone to do this many drugs. So I don't think it's from Chad, but I guarantee you someone is using this cycle or has used this cycle, and it might have been Dallas that used it. I don't know, but I don't believe that Chad wrote this cycle. I just know him better than that. I don't think he would do it. You can give me your opinion. I'm going to read through it a little briefly. If you really want my full analysis of it, you could watch my rant on it.
Okay,
it should be up by the time the show goes up. So it starts off with growth hormone. And the growth hormone that he's recommending in the cycle, or he or she, whoever wrote the cycle, is Serostim and Humatrope mixed. They want you to do 12 IUs of Serostim and 10 IUs of Humatrope per day.
I hope you would invest in
I don't know if Trump can afford
You would have
that.
to invest in Bitcoin to pay for this, by the way.
Yes, that's right. Those 22 IUs right there might be $300, right? $400. So we're talking that's a very expensive drug habit right there. You'd have to be wealthy just to be able to do that. But let's assume the person has the cash or whatever to do it. Then he wants you to take Humulin R and Humalog, a mixture. Okay, and a lot of diabetics use a mixture of that because one's super fast acting, one's a little fast acting, but it has a second peak. So a lot of type 1 diabetics will mix the two to kind of get it more even. I guess you could say delivery of the two. 20 to 25 IUs 6 to 8 times a day. I'm assuming what they're meaning is take it with every meal. That's an enormous. If you take 20 units of Humalog, you need to eat 200 grams of carbs. So, assuming you're taking 20 units, let's say 6 times a day, just for argument's sake, okay? Figure out how many grams of carbs that is. That's 1,200 grams of carbs you'll have to eat for the day, minimum. Now, in addition to that, they want you to take 100 IUs of Lantus insulin, which is a long-acting insulin, at breakfast. 100 IUs, which will
This is all just. You know what? We talk about. This is just phoniness, and it's not only phoniness and made up. It's dangerous to even talk about because someone will die just attempting to use something like that.
I believe, Chris, that probably someone has tried this before.
I don't think anyone's that crazy.
I think they are. And I think you'd be ridiculous to do it. But then I'm going to continue. I'll read fast through the rest of them because it's long. IGF, the Increlex version, that's the legitimate. It's not long R3 or DES IGF-1. This is the one that they sell from the pharmacy here in the U.S. It's 10 to 15 milligrams, only on training days. Anadrol 50 here. This is a great one. 100 milligrams 3 to 4 times a day, only on training days. It's a lot of Anadrol, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's this one? D-ball 20 milligrams 5 times a day, only on training days. EPO. This is what really scares me. 7,200 units I use every day.
You're not scared yet? Go ahead.
Well, this could definitely kill you. This, you take that much EPO on top of the steroids, which already thicken your blood, and your blood is going to be, as John Romano would say, chocolate pudding, basically. That's going to be the consistency. And you know what? You have any blockages in those coronary arteries, and you're gonna clot immediately. That is the most one of the most dangerous drugs you could possibly take for bodybuilders. EPO, terrible drug for bodybuilders. It offers no benefit, and it just thickens your blood, which makes it very, very, very likely that you will throw a clot. Very, very dangerous, especially if you get dehydrated. Let's say you're working out, you're sweating a lot, you dehydrate 2 to 3%, and now your blood's already super thick. Very bad idea. All right, halotestin, 10 milligrams 4 times a day. That's only for the last 8 weeks before a show. 100 milligrams of Masteron a day. 1,000 milligrams of Decker per week. 1,000 milligrams of Primobolan per week. This is a funny one. 100 milligrams per day of Winnie tabs for bloating. I didn't know that Winchell gets rid of bloating, but I guess this person does. 10 to 40 milligrams of Nolvadex if you still have your glands in. If your gynecomastia has been removed, then you only need Arimidex 1 milligram every other day. All right. Trenbolone, the long-acting version, 1,000 milligrams per week. And then also the Trenbolone, the fast-acting one, 1,400 milligrams per week, which is 2 cc's per day. Which the Trenbolone alone would make you want to probably murder your mother. I mean, that's how crazy that's going to make. You'll never sleep on that stuff either. Test enanthate 800 milligrams per week. Test suspension 1,400 milligrams per week, which is 2 cc's per day, which is insane. Sustanon 1,200 milligrams per week. Boldenone, which is the equipoise, 1,200 milligrams per week. And what else? Oh, and then they recommend Proviron 150 milligrams per day, and then
you can take that cycle and take the Indochan's Defend little drink and pass the drug test.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Do you remember that product?
Yeah, it became Zydot. Zydot.com. You can buy this. It's like a special like carbohydrate blended drink that somehow cleans your urine for like 6 hours. You can test positive, negative to all the steroids. The only steroids it doesn't block, believe it or not, Chris, is DECA and equipoise. Now, the problem with that is though when they test, you have to drink a lot of water with it. Like there's a whole instruction booklet that comes with it. So it's good for like potheads and guys who are going to probation who want to pass like that. But it's really not good for bodybuilders who are being tested, after they get off stage because you have to drink so much fluid that you would be a bloated mess. So it's really not it's not really that good for that. But it's good if you were getting tested like randomly, I guess. So. But you'd have to know about it because you have to prepare. You have to take it like 2 hours before you get tested.
So the cycle's crazy.
Oh, so the cycle's crazy. It's insane. Yeah. And like I said, once again, I totally think it's irresponsible to be saying that that's the Chad Nichols cycle. I don't believe that Chad would write a cycle like that. However, plus it's missing a few drugs that Chad would have thrown in anyway.
You had said that to me, and I said, you said, what do you think of the cycle or something like that? And I said, is this for a bikini or figure?
Yeah. And I said bikini, of course. Wellness.
What about Flex Magazine in the news?
Well, I don't know if that's true. I did hear from an inside source that they're not re-signing any of their athletes, but that could be bullshit. So I don't know if that's true or not. We'll see. We'll see it. Come the Olympia next year if they still have everyone under contract. Look, it's the truth is it doesn't make sense. There's no return on investment. They're not even doing anything with the athletes, so why even have them under contract? I mean, I could understand if they were using them every day and they're blogging with them and doing videos with them, but they're not. So why put them on the shelf and have to pay for them? Just let them do what they want. I think that, and if that is the case, I'd love to get a hold and interview some of these guys that we couldn't interview before. So maybe we'll get Phil on the show and maybe he can give us some. Because Phil's got some strong opinions. I like that. I respect that about him. I respect that. He'd be great on Iron Debate.
I think he would be tremendous, and I think you need a 2-hour interview because there's no interview. There's not really a lot of interviews with him around, and there's so much venom thrown at him from all corners.
Yeah, well,
if he really wanted to say what he probably does say in private, it'd probably be you'd probably pass LuiMarco on YouTube by 10 to 20 people.
Here's the shtick. I know you're going to answer in 3 seconds. Who is the most politically correct, perfect Mr. Olympia?
I guess that'd be Jay, probably.
Right, Jay, because Jay knows the rhetoric. I mean, Haney was good too in that sense, but Jay was the ultimate politician. He knew exactly what he had to say, even if he didn't believe it. He knew what he had to say to represent the title well. Phil's of the belief that I'm the best bodybuilder in the world. This is how I feel. I'm going to wear my emotions on my sleeve. Jay never did that. You didn't even know Jay had emotions until after he retired, and then he started, doing interviews and stuff like that. And you realize, same thing with Dorian. Dorian wasn't really a good politician because he just didn't say anything. Jay always was talking. He just knew what to say. If he was running, Jay would be a great guy to run for office. He should run for like governor of of something, maybe Nevada or something.
No, because he's not wild enough now. Now you got to say outrageous stuff.
Yeah, but who knows? But I think he's a good politician. He understands the game. Now he's like, a little.
You know what I'd say? You know what I'd say? But it'd actually be wrong. You'd actually be wrong, Jay. Just text me tonight about Bitcoin. Jay would say, if you said, why do you run for like senator of like Vegas? He'd say it's not enough money in it.
Yeah, he's more interested in money. You're right.
But there is money because you know what's so funny?
Power is money.
Are you kidding? Go through who the senators are, and
I said power is money.
their net worth is. It's insane, dude.
Yeah.
It is insane.
Yeah, imagine how many speeches Jay would be booked. He wouldn't have to worry about going to
Mitch
the
McConnell's like the
Arnold.
richest guy, in the Senate, and he's the leading the poorest state in the country.
Right. No, it's true. But so anyway, so Phil gets a bad rap because he wears his emotions on his sleeve. If he's pissed off about something, he goes on Twitter or he goes on something and he voices it. So what? Who cares? He can. You know what? He could, just like Trump does. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he just took the words right out of my mouth. He says he's like the Trump.
Yeah.
He's like the Trump Mr. Olympia. Say, you know what? Hey guys, I still won. Who's that sound like?
Yeah, Trump.
You know what? None of your opinions matter, which is there's a lot of validity. You can shut a lot of people down with that because I won.
Right. No, it's true. That's why he's a good interview because he's not afraid to release his emotions, and people like emotions. Now, you might think that he's arrogant, or you might not like him because of the way he is, and what he just he lets his, like I said, he lets his persona just lay on his sleeve there. But you know what? Who cares? He's interesting. He's interesting. The problem is that they've had him wrapped on the contract for so long that he can't do any interviews with anyone. So you never hear anything.
They've never done anything.
He'd be 1,000 times more popular if he could go out and do interviews. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. The sport doesn't want him to. Maybe they like to keep him on the wraps. I don't know. Maybe they figure, well, he's going to be too outspoken. Yeah. But he toes the line. He doesn't. He's a very, very good. I guess you could say promoter of bodybuilding because he loves the sport and he loves the organization and he's always been treated very well by them. So he has nothing bad to say about that. But he has his own opinions and I like that. I think that I'd like to hear what he has to say. If I got him on the show and interviewed him. So who knows? That could happen in the future. All right, let's move on to another subject. You know. You remember how last week I talked about Anders, the guy who I fired and who was mad at me because I didn't give him credit for the LuiMarco Bonex story, even though LuiMarco broke it and he didn't. So he wrote me back an email because he blocked me on Facebook. So he wrote me back an email. He goes, "I was never fired. Dave actually begged me to stay, but after I couldn't stand Gail, I won't say what he calls her. I couldn't stand Gail's evil manners. We decided to end it. So I quit."
He called her the C word?
No, it was something comparable to that. He was so talking about disrespectful to women. He was so disrespectful to her that and you know me, I'll let anyone get away with anything. I'm like, I can't have you work here. I'm sorry. And like I said, I never disrespect women. I'm like, that's something I don't do. So and then he said, and then number 2, he numbered these things. He has a couple of different points. I have given Dave so much quick news over the last years, so for once, he could give RxMuscle credit. It all started with Sergio Oliva Jr. when he began his beef with the Camel Crew. like he broke the story. It was on all over every place.
I can give you Sergio's telephone number and he can call you.
Did I get credit on the site? Of course not, because he's an egomaniac, meaning me. Then I broke the LuiMarco story super fast after I read it on Louis' Instagram. He's even admitting that he read it on Louis' Instagram, but he broke the story.
Breaking stories. So he's breaking it to you because you're busy with trying to have a kid.
Yeah. He's like, did he credit RxMuscle? No. He was bitching about it, of course. That's why I got pissed. Aceto, why do you think people have begun to lose respect for you? Everything around Dave Palumbo becomes part of his dirty swamp. And then hold it. Here's his PS.
I didn't know people had any respect for me, but I mean, if they're losing respect,
it's all my fault because of my swamp.
Thank you for letting me know.
I do have a swamp in the backyard, by the way. I want to let you know. I have there's alligators in there too. You saw it.
I bet he's listening to the show.
Of course he is. He loves it. He believe me, he loves this. I'm giving
him
tons of publicity.
Look at all the airtime you're giving him now.
He said,
all publicity is good publicity.
By the way, this is how he does email. By the way, jumbo means complete loser in Swedish. Love that. Oh my God, what a nutcase. Speaking about nutcases, this woman in Cincinnati, Ohio, Chris, burnt her house down trying to kill off the bed bugs in the house.
You know what? Because she did what I do. She went online. You know, I bought this stuff once. This bed bug stuff, right? The spray, Dave.
Yeah.
And the bed bug stuff was nothing more than rubbing alcohol.
Oh, really?
Rubbing alcohol is supposed to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
So you sent that link to me. She doused her house like everywhere with rubbing alcohol. I guess she needed to have like a Marlboro at 11 p.m. or something.
Oh, it's
and she burned the house down.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
I sent it to the bedbug guy who sent me the bedbug medicine. The guy, I guess it wouldn't be medicine. I guess it'd be poison for bedbugs.
Poison. Officials say the fire late Friday heavily damaged a 5-unit building and sent 3 people to a hospital to be treated for smoke inhalation. Their injuries aren't considered life-threatening. The Red Cross is finding lodging for 3 teenagers, 7 adults. Damage is estimated $250,000. You ought to give her Joe Charia's number to get down there. He could get us some money, probably.
Oh, of course he would. He'd have her rebuild the building. He'd probably put like rooftop deck on it.
8 people were left homeless November 28th when the 13-year-old boy set fire to an apartment building after dousing a bed bug with alcohol. So I guess the moral of the story is don't douse the bed bugs with alcohol. It's very dangerous. You can burn your house down. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Bed bugs, dude. They're still here, dude.
Yeah. They won't go away. They've been around since the dinosaur, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Did I tell you the dinosaur story about that they found?
I know, but you're infatuated with dinosaurs. I know you want a little pet dinosaur, Dave.
I'm waiting until they clone them. I'm going to be first on the list. I don't care what it costs.
Whatever happened to the cloned sheep? They're
fine. The clone sheep. You can clone your. Did you know you can clone your dog? Did you? It's expensive, but you can clone your dog.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. The problem is you got the same DNA of the animal, and it looks like it, but it doesn't. It's not the same personality because it's not the same.
Yeah, of course. You may end up disliking it.
Yeah. I wouldn't do that. I'm going to clone my animals, but this is what they found a small like leg bone of a miniature dinosaur that was embedded in amber. You know how they the whole premise of Jurassic Park was that.
Now, did you find this out, or did the guy from Sweden break this news to you?
No, yeah.
Because you need to give credit on
I'm not giving any credit. I'm taking credit for myself. In Jurassic Park, what they found, they usually find these bugs from like the Jurassic era in amber, and they get perfectly preserved. And the whole premise of Jurassic Park, which is not really true, is that they got these bugs, and they figure, well, the bugs bit the dinosaurs. This way the bugs have the dinosaur blood in them. They extract the blood from there, and they get the DNA of the dinosaur. That's how they clone it. That's the premise of Jurassic Park. Not true. They can't do it in reality. But they actually found a dinosaur bone. I mean, a dinosaur leg, part of a leg that was actually had flesh on it, believe it or not, embedded in this amber. And they're able to get this DNA from this thing. So they're saying that it's possible that they could clone this thing. But they don't know if the DNA is actually going to be usable. But what was interesting was because they had a fully intact leg, not just the bone, they actually had feathers there. So and that this dinosaur, Chris, believe it or not, was in the same, even though it was a small dinosaur, it was in the same family as the T-Rex. Now they had always postulated that dinosaurs don't look like the reptiles that we keep in our collect, like my blue-tongued skinks or iguanas or anything like that. They actually looked more like birds. They were in the bird family, and that had always been a theory. Now they're actually seeing feathers. So can you imagine that the T-Rex was like a big, crazy monster, flesh-eating bird? To me, that's crazy, way scarier than it being a flesh-eating reptile. To me,
yeah,
because birds are like smart, and birds are like fast and they move quickly, and it's
hard to escape them. You saw the movie The Birds, right?
Yeah, and obviously the T-Rexes didn't fly, but they had bird-like movements to them, and they're just, think of a roadrunner, how fast they are. So crazy, right? This is the first proof. I'd love to know who the guy who first put forth that theory that I think that these are birds, and that because this guy is now looking like a genius, because they've got confirmation now, actually, in this fossil that they found. So, pretty exciting, I don't know if we'll ever clone dinosaurs, but they say that they're going to clone these woolly mammoths, You know, the woolly mammoths that
Oh,
got
yeah,
stuck
yeah,
in the
yeah,
ice.
yeah.
Because they found fully intact woolly mammoths in the ice, you know, with the hair and the
Yeah.
flesh and everything. And their DNA is fine. So I think as soon as they really perfect it, imagine that, having some woolly mammoths running around in zoos. That would be great.
I was just going to say, Disney can buy it and put it down there in
I'm
Orlando.
sure they will, yeah. They can get rid of the killer whales to put them back in the ocean. And
Well, I think they already got rid of ESPN, so
oh, they did.
I think so. They're buying Fox now.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
It's big. Disney's big time.
Trump was concerned, and he had to call up Rupert Murdoch, the owner, and said, "You're not selling the news organization, are you, to Disney?"
For those of you who are interested, my next Secrets to Becoming a Diet Guru course that goes over how to become a diet coach, everything about
You don't
diet.
need coaches, Dave. You don't need coaches.
Well, that's another topic. Everything you need to know about diet, supplementation, drug cycles, detoxification, site-enhancing drugs. I guess you could say pre-contest, off-season, men, women.
Invoicing.
I go over everything. 10-hour class. I'll be teaching it again on February 24th. That's Saturday, February 24th. That's the week before the Arnold. Out here in Cape Coral, Florida. I had to take a little bit of a break because I obviously got the baby coming this week, and we need a month or two to kind of reacclimate and I need to be able to get some sleep to teach this course. So, guys, you got plenty of time.
Dave, give it up. You need to get on some Adderall.
Yeah,
I mean, because with two kids, you don't get any sleep.
Hold that thought on the Adderall because I want to bring up something about that. But anyway, if you want to sign up for the new Secrets to Becoming a Diet Guru course, you could check it out at DavePalumbo.com. Chris, I also found on an old hard drive. Do you remember when we taught when I had you come down and help me teach the SMART personal training certification course?
Yep.
Well, I had someone videotape it at the time.
Of course
who
you
was
did.
working me, and I forgot about it, and I found all the video segments from that course, and I think you taught for like an hour and a half. I got a great seminar on you. I don't even know what I'm going to do with it. It's like 12 hours. It's probably because it was over 2 days. It's like 12 hours.
I just remember it being freezing.
Yeah, it was very cold.
I remember it being freezing. I remember your ex being mad at you.
Yeah, I'm sure of it. That's probably legitimate. So I had it was me, you, and my friend Doug Wentz taught the first day of in gym. I taught the second day of in gym, and I think it's really good. I might just put the how to train part up because that was really good. It was very well done. But I have to think about it. But it was pretty interesting. All right, so getting back to the Adderall and stimulants.
On the training, do you show people how to pull stuff out?
Yeah, I show them how to do all the angles. No, it's all basic. It's all basic how to train for real.
Basics don't work. Well, that's why you don't need coaches because basics. All you need is basics. But go ahead.
I teach my courses. I teach for the 99.9% of the population that this thing will work for. For the 0.001% of the elite, I don't teach for them because you can't teach for them. You have that's why Chris is such a great coach because you have to have instincts because nothing works as it should with those guys. They don't adhere to the rules. Their bodies are genetically gifted, and you have to have very, very good coaching instincts to be able to coax a lot of these guys into shape for these shows. Anyone who thinks that, Cedric McMillan's body is normal, Kevin Levroni's body is normal, it is crazy. There's different rules to go by these guys, and that's why things change. But aside from those elite of the elite, everyone else pretty much adheres to pretty basic similar rules. You got to squat if you want big legs. You got to, incline bench press if you want a big upper chest. You got to bent row if you want a thick back. But if you're Paul Dillette, you can do 10-pound dumbbell curls and get 24-inch arms. So never listen to the guys that are genetically gifted like that because they don't know what the hell they're doing. Ronnie Coleman was born with 20-inch arms. I don't think he even lifted a weight. And when he first started lifting, I think they were at 19 and a half. Brian Dobson told me so just from playing football. So how do you deal with that? I mean, that's just genetics. Yeah. So
I'm doing my best.
Oh, what was that? Who's doing
that? That was Coleman's doing his best. I was trying to shut my phone off, and I guess Siri, which I've never used Siri once in my life. Can you believe it?
She kicked in. I thought it was the woman who lives downstairs from you, who wanted you to clean up her apartment or something like that.
No, it's I don't know who it is doing their best.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Let's get back to the stimulants and the Adderall.
Adderall.
I'm on this kick of charting people's blood sugars. I've been talking about it on the last couple of shows, and
Yeah.
I'm testing people's. I'm having people test their fasting blood sugars. I'm having them test their 2-hour post-meal blood sugars, and I'm combining all this data, and I'm finding that a lot of people are having a lot of blood sugar control, more so in the fasting in the morning. When they're waking up in the morning, their blood sugars all day long are in the right range, and then in the morning, when they're waking up, they're high. They're in the late high 90s, early low hundreds.
Gluconeogenesis, Dave.
Right. They should be under 90. So I'm starting to ask people what they're doing. Like, well, are you taking GH? Obviously, GH would account for that, but some guys are not.
Waking up and having a whey shake.
One of the things that I found out was that one guy told me that his blood sugars were running high, and he was taking clenbuterol. And he decided he was going to stop the clenbuterol and then test his blood sugars. And guess what? He stopped the clen and the blood sugars went back to normal. So I was like, what does that mean? Because now I have data to analyze. I love analyzing data, which I didn't have before. But now that I've told everyone to go to Walmart and buy a $9 blood sugar testing monitor, who's not going to do that? It's cheap enough to do it. And now people can start giving me data. And now, so I went on a phone call with Colette Nelson, my ex, who's a type 1 diabetic and certified diabetes educator. And she's got really good insights. And we started discussing it. And what she just knew and what she's seen in herself is that when she takes clenbuterol, okay, her blood sugars also are a little higher. And she doesn't, she has no insulin production in her body. What she also noticed was one time she had taken clenbuterol when she was competing back in the day. And it was, how, I don't know if you remember, for a while they were selling clenbuterols that people thought they were 200 micrograms, 220 micrograms, but they were actually 200. They were like 10 times the dosage. And she took it for a couple days and her blood sugars were uncontrollable. And then we realized what happened, that they were dosed incorrectly. And we kind of just didn't think about it again. But this reminded her of that. And I said, well, why would clenbuterol raise blood sugar? Any ideas, Chris?
Yeah. Let me take some guesses. Stress response.
Right. And what happens during stress response?
Stress response, you enter a fight or flight situation, so your body takes glucose out of glycogen stores.
Right. What gland is being stimulated during stress?
The
famous glands that everyone knows.
Adrenal cortex.
Right. The adrenal glands. And
for 200, Dave. I'll take the adrenal cortex for 200.
And when the adrenal glands are stimulated, you're releasing epinephrine, you release cortisol, and all these compounds in the adrenal gland raise blood sugar. So if you're excessively stimulating them, and I didn't think clenbuterol would qualify as a stimulant because it really doesn't have central nervous system stimulating effects, but evidently it has adrenal stimulating effects. And by doing that, and by raising cortisol, and by raising adrenaline, and it might be more adrenaline, epinephrine, than it is cortisol, because a lot of people, think, have speculated that clenbuterol is more of an anti-catabolic type of drug, so it doesn't raise cortisol. It might only stimulate the adrenal medulla rather than the cortex, in which case it would increase epinephrine and norepinephrine, which would obviously raise blood sugar. So that's probably what's happening from that. So that would also mean that if you took other stimulants like ephedra, excessive caffeine, that could also screw your blood sugars up because of this adrenal gland, stimulation. And with other stimulants like caffeine and ephedra, you might actually also stimulate the adrenal cortex, like you said, which would raise cortisol, which would really raise blood sugar. So
let me just interject. The interesting thing is people taking stimulants, and they can indirectly make you tired.
Well, I think what happens on stimulants is that the central nervous system stimulating effect gets dulled out because your brain stops responding to it, but the rest of your body is still responding in a stressed out manner. Yeah. And I've always said it. Stimulants raise cortisol. And when you raise cortisol, you raise blood sugar. And when you raise blood sugar, you have an increased need for insulin. And so that's going to make it harder to lose weight, obviously, if your body's cranking insulin out. And if your body's insulin producing cells in the pancreas, the beta cells, get fatigued because you're always on stimulants, you're going to run high blood sugars. And if you run high blood sugars, you're going to have side effects.
I need a coach just to digest all that, but go ahead.
So anyway, so getting back to that, if your blood sugars are running high and you're not on GH, okay, and you can't figure it out, you might be taking too many stimulants. These pre-workouts that are out there, Chris, that people are selling tons of, are basically just bombs worth of, of stimulants. They're it's like you're taking like a cocktail of different stimulants because that's what sells. People want speed, and they'll pay for it. And that's the best selling products, even though they're probably the products that do the least good for bodybuilding, are the high stim, pre-workouts that everyone's cranking out there. And they're probably long term doing damage to the body, via raising blood sugar, causing cortisol increases, increasing blood pressure, which can damage the kidneys and can, enlarge the heart. So, guys, think about what you're doing before you do it. And this is clear-cut data I'm seeing. People on stimulants are running high blood sugars. Not everyone, but there are people. It won't probably affect you when you're really young, although it could. But it'll catch up to you. So think about it. There's nothing wrong with a cup of coffee or two a day, but if you're running excessive stimulants, you got to be careful. Also, same thing with clenbuterol. If you're doing excessive amounts of it, that can be dangerous. So just, once again, go to Walmart, get the blood sugar monitor your blood sugar. If it's fine, then don't worry about it. But if it isn't, then something's got to be done. You can't be running around with high blood sugars. It's too dangerous. It causes too many deleterious side effects that accumulate over time. And so, my job is, as whatever my job is, I don't know what it is, I guess to relay this information to you because no one else is doing it, and that's why, guys, if you want to take your blood sugars and give me your feedback on your own bodies, I'm more than happy to listen. You can email me what's going on. I think that it can only help our industry and keep people healthier and maybe help them make get better results with what they do. But so that's my my little diversion. I did want to bring up something about baby formula because I use something called babies only formula from you buy it on Amazon. It's an organic milk. It doesn't use any lactose. There's a little lactose, I guess, in the whey, but it's a very small amount of whey in there. It's funny, isn't it funny that the baby formula, Chris, has such a small amount of protein in it? I don't know. It's like 1 gram, per serving,
Yeah, why?
Because the babies don't need that much protein. They need more fat and carbs.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Just for carbs for the fuel, obviously, to fuel themselves, and then the fats for the brain and central nervous system development. But think about it. Babies have a formula. What are they drinking? Formula 8 times, 9 times a day, 10 times a day. If it's 1.5 grams of protein, they're getting, almost 12, 13 grams of, protein a day. They only weigh,
their body weight,
they only weigh 8 pounds. Yeah. So, how much do you really need? So it's enough, they need a lot of fat though, and carbs for fuel. So that's really what it is. So there's one of these.
It's wait a minute. It's 2 pounds. It's if they get 9 grams of protein, it's like 1 gram per pound.
Yeah.
So
No, it's perfect. I always say that babies are whatever bodybuilders think that they should do, look at what a baby does. And baby formulas are loaded with, tons of good essential fats, okay? Just enough protein to grow and just enough carbs to fuel, their bodily processes. So it's and they sleep all day. And so that's the best bodybuilding lifestyle. Sleep as much as you can, train, stimulate that muscle, and then, make sure you get enough food and nutrition. So one of our listeners, had sent me something. He's from, I think he's from Australia. Yeah, and he was asking, what my recommendations were because his wife is giving birth, or she just gave birth, and he's sending me all these formulas. He's like, what do you think about this New Zealand grass-fed baby formula that's out there? And he sent me the ingredients list. And, the whole thing about grass-fed cows is that they produce milk, okay, with good essential omega-3 fatty acids in the milk. I always make fun of these companies that sell the New Zealand grass-fed milk, they use New Zealand grass-fed whey isolate. I think that it's the greatest joke because they've removed all the fat, right? So what's the advantage of having grass-fed, cows if you're not going to even put the good stuff in there? But I understand that people want to use a whey isolate with no fat or no carbs in it. But there's no advantage. They had contacted me, the company, and said, "Oh, do you want to put it in your isolate?" I said, "Why? Why would I pay more for your whey when there's no advantage to it? I'm not using the fat component of it." So they were like, "I understand, whatever." So I figured it was just a marketing scheme. So now so this baby formula comes out. I'm like, "Wow, babies need a lot of fat." I'm like, "This is a great idea. Maybe I'll get this for my son, for my daughter that's being born." So I go on the site and I look up the ingredient list. First thing I always do, which is the first thing all you guys out there should do, always read the ingredient list. So don't look at the supplement fact panel. Read your ingredient list first. Ingredient list says, first ingredient, non-fat milk. Skim milk. So I'm thinking, wait a second. It's New Zealand grass-fed cows that produce milk. The thing that makes the milk special is the fatty acid component of the milk. And they're using skim milk. And then they're adding back high oleic, fats. They're adding other fats back that aren't as good as the fats that are in the milk because of the grass-fed cows. So I'm like, this is ridiculous. And you know what they added back? They add lactose. They add lactose, which is the worst stuff you could possibly, add, right? Because it's something. It's an allergen, for kids. So I write the company an email, thinking I'm never going to hear back from them, right? I write them back. I say, look, I have a baby. I own a nutrition company. I don't think I even said I own a nutrition company. I said, look, I did some research. I'm all for this grass-fed cows you're using. It's a terrific idea. I said, you produce this and that. I said, why are you taking the fat out? Why are you using skim milk and non-fat milk in here and then having to put other fats back that aren't as good as what you got in there? Mm-hmm. So they wrote me back to like, well, blah, 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 blah. It was a salesperson. So I said, fuck it, I'm calling the company. Call them up. Because they put the number. They said, if you would like further information, you can talk to one of our.
You should have called it on the radio show. But go ahead.
I should have. But we tape it at weird hours. I can't do that.
I know, but it's probably like 3 p.m. there.
So I called. I call up, and I get this. I think I got the same woman who answered the email. She's like, I think you asked an email. I said, yeah, you answered it 30 minutes ago. She's like, let me see who else is here. I said, and she put someone else on the phone, and I give them the whole spiel again, and they don't know. They're like, I don't know. I said, well, I don't get it. I don't understand. Why would you guys use the... No one knows. So you got a company here who's using a product that they might have something unique here, and they've completely removed anything that makes it unique, and they've made it ordinary again. So they have they're touting it as grass-fed baby formula from cows, grass-fed cows, and they're not using the best part of the fucking thing. So this is the reason I'm mentioning is because no one knows what the fuck's going on out there, and it's not that I'm not the only one who knows what's going on. I'm one of very few select people who do, but there are other people and other companies out there that are good. But these people, it's all marketing. These companies are all marketing. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It's like these.
Didn't we just start off with who's running for president with
But isn't it terrible that we're in such a society that no one knows what's going on? It's like these companies that are selling these ketogenic drinks that have carbs in them, saying, oh, take this, you'll be in ketosis. No, you won't. First of all, you got to eat a carb-free diet. Secondly, your fucking drink has carbs in it. How is someone's brain going to use carbs, going to use ketones that you're putting in this product when you're giving them carbohydrates, sugar in the drink? So I'm fed up. I don't know what to do. The only thing I can do is rant on these radio shows and my videos, and hopefully people will hear me and realize how insane this world is, and you got to learn to question everything. I was always the guy in school who had my hand raised. The teachers probably loved and hated me at the same time because I was a pain in the ass. But you know what? At least I understood what I was learning. I couldn't just sit there and memorize shit if I didn't understand why I was learning it. And a lot of times I brought up good points, and sometimes the teachers had great answers for me, and I was like, wow, that makes sense, and I really learned the subject. Other times they didn't, and I realized that maybe they didn't know what they were talking about. So, and I had to go to other people and find out the answers. So it's interesting. I remember my uncle, who was a nephrologist. We were having a discussion. He was a runner, and we were talking about, this is going back in the 80s, Chris. We were talking about, he was telling me that during exercise, you don't need as much insulin to absorb carbohydrates. I said, why is that, Uncle Luis?
Yeah, because the tissues will take them up.
He's like, the cells can absorb glucose. I don't think they even knew back then. I don't think they knew anything about GLUT4 receptors. So when I was in medical school, they're teaching us that you need insulin to absorb glucose. I said, what about after exercise? I said, my uncle, who's a nephrologist at Cornell Medical School, told me that you don't need it. They're like, he doesn't know what he's talking. He would never say that. That's what they say. They never throw the doctors under the bus. No, that's not true. I said, why isn't it true? He says he notices it in himself. It's not true. Now, then, 10 years later, they come out with GLUT4 receptors that are available. When you exercise, your body produces GLUT4 receptors, enable you to absorb glucose without the need for insulin. So, I don't know how my uncle knew this. Maybe he just knew it intuitively. Maybe they hadn't really identified it yet. But meanwhile, in medical school, they're telling me, no, that's not the case. So you got to question everything. That's my point. Never accept what a coach is telling you at face value unless that coach can explain to you why they're having you do that. And if they can't, you should run for the hills. You really should. Because to me, that's not the kind of guy I want to take advice from, especially if it's controversial advice. If it's general, here, eat this many grams of carbs, that's fine. But I'm talking about when guys tell you to do crazy, kooky things, take this many milligrams of this and this many milligrams. Ask them why. Ask them why. Because you know what? It's your health and it's your body, and you're doing this to your body. Nothing bad's going to happen to them. It's going to be you that the thing happens to. So that's my rant for the show that I went on. Do you have anything to rant about today?
No,
you have a quote of the week though, don't you?
Yeah, I got to turn on my phone so Siri might come on and say that cycle will kill you that you read at the beginning of the show.
By
Siri,
the way,
will this cycle kill you?
Yeah. By the way, assuming my wife doesn't give birth before, I'm supposed to interview Dan Solomon this Wednesday about the movie Bigger. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it'll go through.
Ask me if there's any groping on the set, because movies are notorious for groping, right?
True. Who? I'm trying to think. Juliana Ho. I don't know how do you pronounce her last name? Huff or Ho?
Who?
Is it who?
Who?
H-O-G-H.
Who's that?
H-O-U-G-H. She played Betty Weeder. She's a pretty famous actress. I don't know how they specifically pronounce her last name. You someone groped her. Maybe Sergio Oliva Jr. groped her.
No, don't make fun of Sergio Oliva. You want to break the news ahead of. You want the quote of the week?
Yes.
Okay, I'll read it like you.
Okay.
I'll be Dave.
Okay, and then I'll interpret it like you.
Truth is like a surgery. It hurts, but it cures. A lie is like a painkiller. It gives instant relief, but its side effects are permanent.
It's true. That's a great quote. Isn't it true?
Truth is like surgery. It hurts, but it cures. A lie is like a painkiller. A lie is like a perk. It gives instant relief.
Believe
Feel
me.
great. Ooh, but the side effects are permanent.
Yeah, people love lies in our industry because of that. It's a quick panacea. It gets rid of the pain very quickly, and
it all goes away temporarily, and then it comes back, and it causes all types of problems.
Absolutely rears its head forever. It's like the Mark Twain quote: if you tell the truth, you never have to remember anything.
Yeah.
Think about all the liars in our industry. There's a lot of them. I'm not going to bring up names.
The industry is not unique to lying.
No, but I'm just saying we know the liars in our industry, and those guys can't remember their lies. They got so many of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We catch them all the time.
Martin Luther King quote the other day on lying, where it was out in front of a store. I forgot it though.
Now you're writing. I got Chris writing quotes down now.
Well, I have a quote right on. I sent you that picture on top of my desk. It says, "Practice working on your memory."
Yeah, no, I love that. That's a great one.
That is a sign I made by myself on an envelope and pasted on top of my computer.
My quote of the week is when after my wife gives birth, I'm starting the death cycle.
Yeah, you will never. My quote was, "You will never get any sleep. Adderall will rule."
I'm just going on the death cycle, Chris. That's going to be what I do. I'm going to make the comeback. Everyone's always asking, you making a comeback? I'm like, yeah, but not until I do I didn't have the right cycle, but now I got the right cycle finally.
Yeah, you got that cycle. You can use.
I got the death cycle. I'm starting with the EPO. I'm right as we're talking. I just injected 12 IUs of Serostim. When I get off the phone with you, off the interview with you, I'm going to do 100 IUs of Lantus insulin.
Why not?
And I guess the post the post radio show injection of IGF-1 will be 10 milligrams in one shot.
You'll have a bubble gut, as Louis would say.
That's right. I'll pop 40 Anadrols
like Tic Tacs
before bed. I'll take 6 to halotestin when I go to take a shit in the middle of the night at 4 a.m. And I'll take 6 cc's of Trenbolone acetate in the morning when I wake up. That's how I'm going to start. That's going to be the next 24 hours. I just gave you my next 24 hours, Chris. And I have to walk up a couple. I walk steps a lot at work. There's steps up to our office. I'll take some EPO so I can improve my endurance with that. And then I'm going to pee in a cup, and I'm going to spin down my urine. And I'm going to make baby formula out of it because of all the great metabolites I'm going to have in my urine from all the drugs I'm taking. So I figure all the drugs I'm taking, it's a small sacrifice to make a very high quality baby formula that I could put out on the market. I'm going to call it the death formula, life and death formula. That's what it's going to be called. I will have sacrificed my life for the life of my son, of my new daughter, I should say. That's what I'm going to be doing.
What would be, do you think, a better selling product? A baby formula developed by Dave Palumbo, or a dog formula, food formula?
I don't know. I think that people will. Well, you're right. People will probably spend more money on their animals than they do their.
I'm sure they will.
The dog food market is too overwhelming. You know, I try to make my own baby formula. Did I tell you that? And I went to my manufacturer who makes my protein powder, and they wouldn't do it. They said, "Oh, too much liability. Oh, you got to have certifications. Oh," they were like hemming and hawing. I'm like, forget about it. I'd love to make a baby formula. I think I could do a better job than these other companies out there. You know what? Because they're worried about profits and losses. They're worried about margins. I would actually make a good baby formula that I wouldn't be worried about that.
Well, you know what? That's
what I did with ice.
Therein lies the niche market. People will always pay for the niche.
I'll market it to rich people. That's all.
Literally. Well, I mean, listen. If you are ridiculously rich, or if you're pretty rich, and you are having, you just had a daughter or baby. Besides sending her to the most expensive college when 18 years from now, the first step you want to do is give her the best, diet that she could possibly have. I mean, that's the way people think.
Chris, here's how stupid this company is with the New Zealand. I was just thinking about this with the New Zealand grass-fed cow milk. They've removed the fat, from the milk, right? They're only putting 1 gram in per. I mean, how much fat what do they think they're really saving? Why would you use non-fat grass-fed milk? They're only putting 1 gram of protein in there per serving. It's ridiculous. They're probably spending more money removing it. Leave it in there. It's the best stuff you got in there.
Why don't you get their nutrition team?
I'm trying to get.
I'm
waiting for them to respond to me. I have a feeling they're not going to respond back.
Well, you should tape the call like I do with my tenants. Tape all calls.
I definitely will. I'm thinking about contacting the New Zealand grass-fed company myself and saying I want to make my own formula. Can you make me my own formula? Here's the formula. I'm giving you the formula. Make this for me. I'll put it out there. You know what? And I'll sell it to bodybuilders. That's what I'm going to do.
They may buy it.
That's what I'm going to use, the same baby formula, because I just said babies and bodybuilders have the same nutritional needs, essentially. I'm going to make baby. That's what I'm going to call it. That's going to be my new product. So I'm sure someone will try to steal it from me. I don't care.
I already get the name.
What?
I think you should come up with a baby food, not a baby formula. A baby food that tastes delicious, even for adults.
Okay.
And you and Evan can co-formulate it and call it like Ben and Jerry's. It could be like Dave and Evans. Dave and Evan.
If we could only make it taste like ice cream, we'd be fucking millionaires. No, I'm going to make like formula. I'm going to call it like Formulate or something like that, or Formulize or something like that. And bodybuilders, it'll be like I'll have like a coin saying. I'll have like a funny saying like reinvent the baby in yourself or something like that, you know?
No, you could steal Aaron, who stole someone else's, the best or nothing, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Mercedes.
Dave and Evans, the best or nothing.
No, but I'm saying I think that it would. I think that you could do something. I think that there's something there to it. Essentials. There's really no protein powders with essential fatty acids in it and stuff like that. Because for babies, DHA, EPA, really the DHA component is very important to brain development. But I also believe that these essential fats, and that's why I recommend that people take Omega Lyze, on a regular basis, 3 pills twice a day, is because all your muscle cells, every cell in your body for that matter, is comprised of essential fatty acids, the cell membrane. So you can't not take essential fatty acids in. You don't need humongous amounts of them, but you do need some. And some people eat no fat in their diet. Or the fat that they eat is all from red meat, which really doesn't have a lot of essential fats in there. So especially if you're eating non-grass-fed beef, So there's definitely something there. I think that you can learn a lot by how a baby, grows and evolves and changes. And, I'm learning even more about, the nutrition of a baby because now I have a baby. Until you have one, you don't really know what the freak they do. I didn't know anything. I didn't want to know. It was like almost, I'm one of these guys who wants to know about everything. When I didn't have a baby, I didn't want to know anything about it because maybe I figured I would actually like what I was hearing and I would say, oh, I want a baby, So now that I have a baby, I want to know everything there is about it. So it's more interesting to me. But I think there's a lot of people out there that don't know a lot about what to give their kid and how to feed them and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Potato chips.
Yeah, you know what? We went to Golden Corral today, and my wife was, she figures, well, you know what? I'm giving birth this week. I might as well splurge. So she was eating ice cream, and she was giving it to Logan, and he got such a sugar rush from it. He was like shaking his head from side to side like a lunatic. Like
oh, yeah.
He was wired, and we were like, my wife and I had never seen him like this because he doesn't eat junk food. We don't give him junk food. He doesn't really have a lot of it. And I am like, let's let him out of this high chair. And he was running around like a freaking lunatic,
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy how sugar affects them like that, right?
They go nuts. Nuts. It's like Adderall.
Yeah.
I mean, really. No, they go crazy, right?
I know. I've never seen that. That was the first time I've ever seen him become a lunatic like that. It was great. We went to Walmart, and you know what we do? We go to Walmart, and I give him a baseball. Section? Yeah, we go to toy section, and we have sword fights with the lightsabers first. Then we go to the sports section, and his thing is I make him pitch because I want to turn him into a pitcher now. That's my new thing. Because my dad always told me he had a rifle of an arm. So I'm like, well, then Logan must have a rifle of an arm. So I give Logan the baseball, and I go about maybe 10 feet away from him, and I get the baseball mitt. I'm like, come on, Logan, throw the ball. And he can throw. He throws pretty good.
You turn the toy section into a little baseball field.
Yeah. So I do. We have the baseball clinic first. We do the sword fighting. We go pick out cool shirts, superhero shirts, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman shirts. Shopping for him is I find more entertaining than shopping for myself, believe it or not.
Oh, totally. Of course it is.
Right?
Yeah, because it's fun things for him to buy or see.
And then we eat grapes. I take the grapes.
And then he said what? When he picks up the toys and he says what? Can you get me this?
No, he's not at the. He can't speak. He doesn't even know. I'm like, let me buy you this. I'm like, like this?
Of course. You buy him. I bought my kids all the toys I always wanted to have.
That's exactly what I want to do. My wife's like, he doesn't get it yet. This is not. He's not. I said, but I want it. I said, can't we get it?
I would do this. I bring it home and my wife would say, this is for 6 to 8 years old. It says right on the box. Can't you read? And it's he can. He can. You get confused and you get excited and you say, no, it's race cars. He can hold the little remote control and then they break it in like 2 seconds. Right.
And so we go to the section of the fruit section, and this is something my wife never did before. She doesn't like sample the fruits in the supermarket, but that's something I think it's a New York thing. So I'm I grab a grape, and I wipe it on my shirt to clean it off, and then I eat it, or I'll give him one. And so now Logan, he takes the grape and then he has to wipe it on my shirt too. That's like he copies everything I do. And him and I are eating all the grapes in the store, and Amanda's walking like 3 feet in front of us, laughing. I said, we got to sample them. If they're not good, I'm not buying them. I want to know what I'm buying. Believe me, I said, I'm spending enough money in the store every freaking day we're in here. I said, I want to know if this stuff tastes good. Because if they're rotten, I'm not buying them. If they're too soft, or if they're not sweet enough.
Oh, if they're bitter. I just bought some bitter grapes.
Sam's Club, which is owned by Walmart, I guess. It's one of these, you got to join. Sam's Club's got the best grapes I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
I don't know if you shop there, or if anyone shops there, but they're like grapes on steroids. They're like the size of almost plums, these things. And I'm thinking usually the big grapes have pits in them, seeds in them. They have no seeds whatsoever. They have the best grapes. I'm telling you, if you're a grape guy like me, I eat a lot of grapes. Logan eats a lot of grapes. If you like grapes, you got to go to Sam's Club and get them, and they're cheaper. They're huge. The problem is that I don't know what's wrong with grapes. It's like as soon as you get them home, they start rotting. Like if you got to eat them in like 2 days, or they're no good. So I can't even imagine how much food these supermarkets must throw out because things go bad quickly.
Yeah, a lot of places they can't give it to food pantries because there's a liability involved.
Because why? Because it's like.
But no, they can't give meats because my wife used to manage a large grocery chain.
I didn't know that.
And they couldn't give out meats to food pantries because what if somebody, ate the meat and got sick and, it's quote, day old.
It's pathetic. They throw so much meat and poultry and fruit and vegetables in the garbage. It's disgusting how much waste. Meanwhile, you got people starving to death, Yeah. What they should do, these supermarkets, is they should, well, you know what, because people are such scammers. They should open like a little like food kitchen in the back of the rest of the supermarket that should be funded by the government, and the food that's no good you give out and you cook up for your homeless people. But you know what? Then you'll get like regular people who are just like scammers, like going there to eat too. But who cares? So what? Feed the neighborhood. Yep. It's good. It'll show goodwill. People want to spend money at their supermarket. I'm telling you, it's a good idea. It's a very good idea.
Totally agree.
Quest Nutrition. The reason why they were so successful with their bars is they gave away more bars than they sold initially. So many people tried the bars for free. They were like, "Fuck, these are great. I'm going to buy them." And then they became a huge company because of that. So it's a good business model. Give away. People like when you give away. When you give, you get. Right? Isn't that what they say?
Well, it's always been that's another quote of the week I just read recently. I mean, it's when you give, you get. That's part of it, right?
Absolutely. It's 100% true. And you know what, Chris? On that great note...
It's not what you got, it's what you give at the end of the day.
Exactly. And on that very positive note, because we're going to end the show on a positive note rather than us complaining about things, we're out of time. Until next week, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio...
The truth hurts.
Good night, everyone.